Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to episode 4 of the JMU Sports Report. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of the JMU Sports Report, joined as always by my friend and co host.
Haden, Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Um, there's been a lot to talk about. We obviously missed last week. It was busy for all of us, so we didn't quite have time. But this week we're gonna go through uh, stuff from last week and this week, and of course our patented segment, the Duke of the Week, will also make an appearance. But Hayden, what do you want to start off with today?
I mean, we gotta keep up tradition. We gotta start with Duke of the Week, Jeremy. Come on.
Of course, we have to start off with Duke of the Week. Who
Yeah.
was your?
Just give me once. Yeah, my Duke of the Week is Lily Boswell. She had a really good game against Richmond. Got her first career hat trick. Uh, Put up 4 points, I believe. Yeah, 4 goals. Just had an absolutely incredible game. Uh, was an integral part of JMU winning against Richmond. In that top 25 victory, which probably won't help them. I mean, it won't hurt them, but that victory won't help them a ton in the standings when it comes to the top 25. But a good win nonetheless. That's a 10-3 program.
Yeah, I also had a lacrosse player as my Duke of the Week. I had Rachel Mady. She just won her second Defensive Player of the Week of the season. Or sorry, yeah, Defensive Player of the Week of the season. Um, she just plays a really good game all around. The team's very very good. So I've picked Rachel Mady
Yeah.
for the week.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm having some issues with the display here of our
Uh oh.
faces.
Oh yeah, our faces aren't up there, aren't they?
No. So I'm just trying to figure out what is causing this issue. Excuse me. Let me try doing this. Let's see if this will fix it. 1 second.
Oh, something happened.
Man, that is quite annoying. Uh, yeah. I mean, if you want to talk, we can talk about some lacrosse, kind of, since we both have lacrosse players. It only makes sense to
Yeah,
continue to talk about lacrosse. Jeremy, want
yeah,
to
well,
quick break down that match for us while I try to fix these technical issues?
yeah. JMU won for their 12th straight victory. They've moved up into fourth place in the top 25 rankings, so they're now number 4. Congratulations to them. We doubled up on the Richmond Spiders, who also was a top 25 program. They were ranked number 23. Uh, we had, what was it? Three, three, three JMU players had a hat trick. Lily Boswell, who Hayden mentioned, Isabella Peterson, and Taylor Marchetti. They both had they all excuse me, not both. All three of them had hat tricks, and we beat the Spiders 20-10. Uh, I mean, this team just is dominant in almost all aspects of play. Uh, if if you have a chance to go watch them, I mean the schedule that they're playing, it isn't a cakewalk. They've played, I think, 5 or 6 top 25 ranked programs so far this season, and they've only lost to the number one overall team. Uh, this team is very good, uh, all around. Like, it's not. it's not really there's not really any weakness anywhere. So if we I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I've got some really high postseason hopes for this lacrosse team.
Yeah,
I
I mean
think
they've had
they
a
could
really good year.
absolutely I think they could compete for a national championship. Pretty quite honestly, I think they have a real shot at it.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of makes sense. They haven't lost a game since their home opener, uh, and you and I were talking about it earlier today. We can kind of here. Let me see if I can get this page to work, and we can kind of just I can have it instead of having our faces, it just follows the us as we go. Uh, no, it's not gonna work the way I want
No,
it
it's all right.
to. So yeah, we'll just hide that. I think. There we go. But I mean, when you're looking at their schedule, what they have coming up, uh, they play against Vanderbilt, and then Cincinnati, uh, in the next 2 weeks. Vanderbilt's on the road. Cincinnati's here at home. They're both conference matchups, which it's kind of either have a little bit more weight than they did against the game against Richmond, even though Richmond was a top 25 program and these two are not. Uh, but I mean, looking at Vanderbilt here, uh, they're just it's you're not playing against terrible teams, uh, no matter what. Uh, though I mean Vanderbilt, they're 1-2. They lost their last game. Uh, they actually lost to Cincinnati, so I guess Cincinnati's probably the game that we got our eyes on a little bit more. Vanderbilt should be a little bit easier of a game for them, but every game does matter. Losing that game would not be good, so still gotta show out, play well. Uh, but I mean, it looks like a really high likelihood that they can make a run uh, at this tournament.
Yeah,
Both the
absolutely.
AC and the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a little surprised if they didn't win their what's it called their conference the way that they've been playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, they are the only 3-0 team. East Carolina, which is how they're ending their schedule this time around. Uh, that's the only other undefeated team. Cincinnati's 2-1 in conference. So Vanderbilt might not be the better team that they're playing against up next, but Cincinnati and ECU are both really good. And then Rutgers, if their field hockey team has anything to speak of, their lacrosse team, they're not going to be a walk in the park. I mean, that was kind of the big heartbreaking loss for the field hockey team earlier this year. That kind of shut their chance of making a bid at the all conference or all college tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. But like like we said earlier, this team is really good, and their season's almost done. They only have 4 games left. Uh, but uh, I think I have really high hopes for this team. Bring home a let's bring home a championship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, all JMU sports teams, or I wouldn't say all, most JMU sports teams have been really good this year, especially in their first year in the Sun Belt. It's kind of a surprise for a lot of people, but you and I, we've loosely followed JMU sports, some more than others these past 2 years, and I mean, that's kind of one of the great things about JMU and their athletics department is it's very well rounded, where it feels like pretty much every program kind of is making a run, uh, and can kind of make a run at the tournament. We saw volleyball make the tournament. We saw women's basketball, make the tournament. we'll have 3 women's sports potentially making the NCAA tournament, which, really exciting. Uh,
Very exciting.
yeah.
Yes. All right. Did you want to move on to baseball?
Yeah, we can talk about JMU baseball a little bit if you want. It's up to you, man. Like, I don't know if you had any other thoughts.
No,
Or
I think we're just gonna keep an eye on it. We'll see if they can move up. I mean, obviously it was a big win against Richmond, so that might help them move up in next week's poll.
hmm Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's gonna move them up a spot. Like I said earlier, it's like talking about a team that it's a top 25 victory, which is huge and very important. But it's their number 3. It's not like it's the 20th team beating the 23rd team. It's number 4. That's kind of you're expected to win that game.
I mean, but still,
Yeah.
wow.
What?
I was just shocked how far North Carolina fell in the poll. I was looking at the poll earlier.
Yeah. It's a lot's changed in lacrosse this year. It feels like.
All right.
I mean, Maryland was pretty highly ranked, and they've dropped a bunch, haven't they?
Yeah, they're actually out of the top 25 right now.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're at 10. I just scrolled way past them.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you want to go over and talk about some baseball?
Yeah, let's talk about some baseball, Hayden.
Okay.
Um, Obviously the team has not had its greatest season. It's coming off a not that great stretch. They won their last game, but before that, they're winning like every other game since they've started their Sun Belt Conference schedule. Uh, they're 3-4 in the conference, and they've just been struggling a little bit. Hayden, what do you think has been causing these struggles? What can you point to?
I mean, at the end of the day, the other teams are scoring more runs than them. Uh, I mean, when you're looking at and you're breaking down, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what's happening.
That
They're
is that is some excellent
they're
analysis right
no,
there.
it's just I mean, when you're going into like the more recent games in the last 5 games, the lowest amount of runs scored by the other team was 7. JB won that game 8-7. The next was 13-8. Then you have a 3-19 loss, a 3-14 loss. That was a mercy rule, and then an 11-8 victory. And when you kind of look at their schedule and like what's happened, at the start of the year, obviously they had that 3-game matchup against Florida State, which is just a really good baseball program, and they lost all those games. And they kind of went on a run. They lost. They didn't lose a whole lot of other games in non-conference play up until. I mean, they didn't even really lose all that many. They lost to USC Upstate. But I mean, they didn't lose a whole lot of games. But I mean, the struggles really are happening once they've moved into this conference play. They're 3-4 in conference play, with like a 4.29 record or winning percentage. And when you're taking if you take the conference play out of their schedule, they're 14-7, which that's like a really good record to have. And it's really just been this conference play. They haven't played well. A lot of the early victories came back like on the backs of some heroics back then with Trimble. And that's just, sorry, I got a text getting yelled at for my analysis of they scored more runs.
It was good analysis.
It was good analysis, but I mean, it's true. They've just haven't been scoring more runs than their opposing team. The pitching's been letting up a lot of runs, and they haven't really had the heroics that they had earlier in that season. I mean, when you're looking at their roster right now, let's go to the statistics.
I've
Uh,
just pulled up their pitching because the pitching. That's what I thought the bigger issue had been, not the fact that the other team was scoring more runs.
well, I mean,
Um,
yeah, I mean that's part of the issue is just the pitching hasn't been great.
they have
Uh,
a team ERA of 6.36, which
yeah, I don't know where that ranks in conference, but I can imagine
not
it's
very
not
high.
very high. Uh,
Let me look it up right now because I have that here. Look at
and
that.
then, I mean, when you're looking at players, outside of Fenwick Trimble, the only other person that has an OPS, I'm just trying to look here. When you sort
Here it
by
is. See,
OPS,
if you sort by
okay, here
ERA,
you go, Jeremy,
James Madison has the third worst in the conference.
in the conference. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good. Uh,
No.
and the offense has been great. We talked about Fenwick Trimble. Kyle Novak's been good for them. But I mean, when you're looking at starters, Trayvon Dabney, he's been solid, but he's not really a power guy. That's your guy who's getting on base. Jack Cohn's been decent. Again, he's just more getting on base than hitting for power. His OBP is 444, and you got a 465 slugging. There's a disconnect there. They just haven't been hitting the ball hard. They've been getting on base, which they have a team OBP of, where was it? I just lost it. 404. They're getting on base more than the other team. They're just not hitting the ball hard, not slugging, which sucks. Another thing you can kind of look at when you're just kind of looking at their offense as a whole, they've been caught stealing a lot. They've been caught stealing 26 times, and they've only caught the other team 13. Or other teams rather. So it's just a myriad of issues, really.
Is this something that getting a couple stars in, I guess you can't, not stars, but is this like a quick thing that can be turned around in a hurry, or is this something that's going to take a bit to fix, do you think?
What, like the team as a whole,
Yeah, the
or
team as a whole.
well, I mean, like
Like, could this be fixed in season, do
in
you think?
season. Well, so like we're talking about the biggest issue, right? Is pitching, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I mean, we have seen pitchers before kind of come around and pitch better. But we're getting into the harder part of the schedule where they're playing in conference. It's hard to see a way where they do improve. Uh, and a lot of it's gonna have to come from their hitters and scoring runs and making the right play. Because I mean, they've got, like I said, they got caught stealing 26 times. In how many games have they played? They've played 28.
Yep.
28. You're almost getting caught stealing once a game. That can't happen. Uh, it's just at the end of the day, it's kind of coming down to fundamentals a little bit, where not getting caught stealing, and just hitting the ball hard. Like, man, when you go down this list and you're sorting by slugging, uh, it's a little sad. No offense to JMU, it's just you've got a starter who has a 357 slugging, another guy who's playing a lot of games, a 292 slugging. So I mean, I haven't been out there. I've been watching the games. Maybe their fielding's just incredible. But if they're, our ERA is one of the worst in the Sun Belt, I can't imagine it's all that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just happens sometimes, you know? The Sunbelt baseball is honestly pretty good. Um, I mean, you have schools like Coastal Carolina
Mm-hmm.
that won a national championship within the last 10 years. I think it was 2016 or 2018 that they last won. Um, so they have a lot of good players there. Um, this isn't an easy conference to play in.
Not at all. It's just, I don't know. I think last year we had kind of some really interesting players, where the team felt like it played better. I don't know if you feel the same way. I don't know how you feel about it. I felt
Yeah,
like you had a little bit more pop in that lineup. Because, I mean, you got to remember last year we had a first overall pick in that lineup, so that definitely helped. But, I mean, even outside of that, there was, I think it was Travis Reifsnyder was pretty good. Uh, and it's just, like I said, it's, they're not hitting for power, they're not stealing bases, they're getting on base. But you know, so is the rest of the league. It's if you want a major league comparison here, Jeremy, it's like the Nationals offense, right? They're getting a lot of hits, but it's all singles. And they're getting on base, but they're not driving in the runners. And then when you have a pitching staff who is one of the worst in the league, it's hard to have success, especially in conference play. Uh, Now, like I said, stuff can turn around. Uh, but it's hard to, especially mid-season, especially when you're talking about student athletes, to make that turnaround where you have, they're not getting paid to, go sit in a lab and figure out what's wrong with their slider. Uh, that's just not the reality of the situation. Uh, and so it's just kind of hard to see a way where this baseball team kind of steps up, because I do think there's a lot of really talented players on this roster. Like I keep talking about Fenwick Trimble. This guy's really good. I loved him in his freshman year. I loved watching him in summer ball this year in the Valley. Trayvon Dabney just gets on base. I remember I'm sure you remember last year where we were just talking about how this guy got hit by a pitch like every other game. It felt
right.
like. And he's doing that again this year. He already has 14 in 28 games. He finds a way on base. It's just you kind of need more contributors in that lineup, and they just don't have that. And that's, again, all without talking about the pitching, where, when you're sorting by your innings pitched leaders, you have a guy with, 23 innings pitched, and he has a 6.65 ERA. And that's the second most innings pitched on the roster. It's just hard. Especially, I mean, hey, they're scoring more runs or allowing fewer runs than their opponents. But, I mean, when you're looking at a lot of the teams that these teams are, like the JMU's playing, you're not talking about super incredible teams, I guess.
Right.
You're not talking about any top 25 teams here. There's solid programs. There's not any like elite programs. But it's just I don't know what else to say, Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean that's fine. It's just not the season that they had. I mean, you talked about last year. I mean, even when uh, I'm blanking on his name.
Chase Delata.
Chase DeLauder. Even when Chase DeLauder wasn't in the lineup, he was hurt for a good part of that season. The team, still was together and was playing pretty good, better than they are now. And I mean, it's baseball; anything can happen. But
Yeah, I mean, earlier we were talking and we mentioned a lot of these teams moving over to the Sun Belt had are seeing a lot of success that a lot of people didn't imagine that they were going to have this level of success in a lot of sports. And I feel like baseball, especially like JMU's baseball program, is one of the ones where this move kind of hurts them in a way. I feel like the baseball program as a whole and the talent they have, it's just I don't think it can keep up with the Sun Belt, and that's okay. It's the first year in the Sun Belt. There's still time to improve. And there's, this isn't the only season that's, it's not like, oh, okay, now we're done playing baseball forever. It's just, there's a lot of young players on this team. I mean, it's going to improve over years. It's just, we're in that transition period still, I feel like.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how it is. The Sorry, I was distracted. I was trying to find something, but I couldn't find it. Uh, yeah, I mean, not every sport's gonna go as well as every sport has gone so
Mm-hmm.
far. So you're just gonna you're gonna have to take the good with the bad, unfortunately. But it's not like this team is that bad either. Like we're giving them a lot of flack, but
Yeah, I mean
they're
that's because
still
you're comparing them to the other teams that played like other JMU like sports where they have a ton
right.
of success. And then
Yeah,
this
exactly.
one's it's a little bit more mediocre, so you're a little bit more critical of them. It feels like, uh, but it's like you said, it's not a bad team. It's just it happens.
Right. Yeah.
It's just
I
not
just want to stress that because we've been a little negative in this segment, but
yeah
I don't want it to come off as, oh, this team sucks. But just that they have a little more work to do to compete with people in the Sun Belt.
yeah for sure. But hey, still I don't know what I was gonna say there. I just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, you want to move on to kind of what to watch this next week, or do you have anything else you want to talk about? Baseball.
Yeah. I think let's move on. Touch on yeah, just what's next to watch, Hayden. What's up next?
Well, I mean, we're sticking with baseball. There's a homestand against Georgia State. Starts today, actually, at 6. And they play all weekend except for Sunday. So, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Fun little homestand. I think they're doing, like, some sort of, like, trivia night on Saturday, which, could be fun. I don't know. And then there's a bunch of softball games. This time it's away at Georgia State. Uh, and then, yeah, golf, I think, plays. That's away, though. Uh, yeah, just kind of just baseball, softball. That's kind of the part of the year we're in. I think by the time we do our next show, there will be one women's lacrosse team game, and that'll be at Vanderbilt, on the road.
Yeah. Lacrosse is starting to spread out a bit, so there isn't. There's only one game this week that's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Actually, everybody plays on Saturday. Baseball, tennis, golf, track
Yeah,
and field. Everyone is on Saturday.
a lot of
Uh,
stuff Saturday. It's gonna be a busy sports day.
yeah, and outside of that, it's not that huge of a week, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff uh, look forward to. Excuse me. Uh, Softball. We'll see if they can bounce back after their first time getting swept in over 2 years. Uh, so, looking for big things out of them, and yeah, I'm excited for the sports this week.
Yeah,
Field
should be fun.
starts. Track and field starts. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, Jeremy?
No, thank you everybody so much for tuning in to this episode of the JMU Sports Report. We really appreciate it. I've been Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my friend and co-host.
Haden Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in.